functions that are very common to college algebra, maybe the most common, is that of the linear function. And so we say a linear function, let's call it f, is a function that can be written in the form f of x equals mx plus b. And here m and b represent real numbers. Alright, and so we say this is a first degree function if m is not 0. You do have an x represented in your function. Alright, now I'm going to use Desmos.com to illustrate what linear functions are like. Okay, here I am in Desmos.com, the free online graphing calculator, and I recommend getting an account if you don't have one. And as an example to figure out what linear functions look like, I'm going to use the example f of x equals negative 2x plus 1. Alright, now what I want to first do is I'm going to plug in some values. Remember, you plug in an x, the result, your function value, is a y coordinate. So when you plug in an x, you get a y coordinate, you get a point. So for example, if I plug in 0 for x into negative 2x plus 1, that becomes 0 plus 1. So I get the point 0, 1. There's my first coordinate on this graph. Alright, now if I plug in 1 for x into negative 2x plus 1, that becomes negative 2 plus 1, which becomes negative 1. There's my second point, 1, negative 1. Alright, now if I plug in my third point, let's say I'm going to pick negative 1, then I have negative 2 times negative 1 becomes a positive 2 plus 1, get a 3. Alright, so we're starting to see a pattern here, right? You have these 3 green dots. Let's do another one just to make sure it's going in the direction we think. If I plug in 2, I get a y coordinate of negative 3. Ah, look at that. Okay, now if I keep adding dots into this, what do you think you're going to get? I think you're correct. We're going to get a straight line. So now I'm going to graph f of x equals negative 2x plus 1, and look at that. It passes right through the green dots and way beyond. So here I have the function represented by negative 2x plus 1. If you think back to, we had talked about linear equations, and then we talked about equations of lines. Now we're talking about linear functions. They're all related. The equation of the line, when we get to y equals mx plus b, that's really a function, and it would look just like this. Y equals negative 2x plus 1 would be graphed just like this. And so if you had negative 2x plus 1 equals 0, now I'm talking about a linear equation, the solution of that would be this point here, 0.5, comma 0. And that's the point where negative 2x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, so linear equations fit into this as well. So we've covered a lot about linear equations when we've talked about equations of lines. If you have any questions on that, you can go back and watch some of those, or you can ask me directly. I hope this makes sense, and thanks for watching.